Hello, good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are, or good evening. I believe everyone can hear me. Please, if you can hear me, just indicate by a, a sign or you can unmute and respond to that.
Can hear you, sir.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm Chinedu by name. I'll, within the course of this program, I'll be your instructor. And as I do tell my students regularly, it's going to be an interactive section. However, for this, I would want to do something to save us time. I would want us to pen down our questions and wherever you wish to ask, even though it's not related to what we have discussed, but you have that as question you want to get clarification on, you're welcome to ask that right immediately after my lecture. And even after today's class, you're free. You can drop question on the group, and you can link up with me as well, just to get clarity on anything. I will be more than happy to help you as much as I can. Yeah. So today, being our first class, I would want to give you guys at least the chance to introduce yourself quickly and let me know if you're already in the field of IT or if you're kind of wanting to start into the pathway to build your cybersecurity career. So I know how to take you guys and and make provision for you as required. Um, I have here I am in the, I don't know if possible, maybe in our subsequent meeting, you can change your name so I can address you properly with your name. And I have the second user, Nicoro. Yeah, please, you can unmute yourself and one after the other and just tell me a little bit about yourself. That would be very helpful as to help me channel um, my method and as well know how fast I can go, how slow. Yeah, please. Let's start with Nikoro.
My name is Nicole Gaga, and I'm into um web development, computer. I read computer science, so I'm into computer this thing. So web development.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I am Dida. Can you unmute and
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good day, everyone, rather. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Ben. I am an administrator. I'm not into tech at the moment, so I'm a newbie.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, okay. Then, in the course of this, I would try to just be on the balance. And please, if I'm a little bit fast, then, or if I say anything that you're not understanding, just jot down and ask for clarity. don't assume don't assume you know what I'm saying if you really do not know. And no question, as I do say, no question is dumb. Yeah, in fact, from the dumbest question you can get your most valuable experience. So ask anything. For Nikoro, I believe with your background in computer science, I strongly believe that majority of the terms and terminology I'll be using here today and subsequently they will be a little bit friendly with you. It won't be kind of new to you. Yeah. Okay, so let's get the ball running immediately. You're already utilizing our time. Permit me to share my screen.
I think we have someone that just joined.
Oh, okay. Hello, good morning, Precious. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
afternoon. Yeah. How are you doing today, Precious? It's
I'm
nice.
good, and you?
Yeah, I'm good. As I said earlier, I'm Chinedu by name. Within the course of
Okay.
this program, I'll be your instructor. Precious, we
Yeah.
just did something a couple of minutes ago. I think we just need to roll back to carry you along. I will need you to just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background. The aim of doing that is to help me know how to move with the class. Yeah,
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Precious. I'm from Nigeria, I'm based in UK. I opt for this class because I have the passion for tech, and I have zero knowledge about it, though I have a background in banking and accounting. So I just have the passion for tech. So that's why I'm opting for this course. And I believe at the end of the day, I will grab something out.
thank you so much, Precious, for that brief
Okay.
introduction. Yeah, so quickly, as I said earlier, yeah, you're welcome. It's going to be a smooth period and section with you guys,
Yeah.
um, with other subsequent people as well. So within the course of this, my lecture, I would need you to jot down or take note of whatever thing you are not clear with or you wish to get clarification on. You can know that, and
Okay.
I will create, there will be time for that. You ask that, and even after our section, you are still free to reach out to me to get clarification and whatever you wish to discuss with me. You're welcome. I'll be more than happy to help you as much as
Thank
I can.
you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
to
please. Is it, sorry, please, can I ask a question? Is the class, will it be recorded, please? Because
yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
actually
actually
at work now, so I'll just stay for about 20 minutes or so. So,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
it's been recorded.
All right.
Yeah, you'll
Thank
be
you.
able to get the recorded clip after now. Yeah,
All
thank
right. And I
thank
hope I follow. Though I'll discuss with Flo on how to work around the time. Because
you.
this, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen, right?
Mm.
Please, can we all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to run us through um two important things before we start up the course. The first one is the objective of this course. Why this course? What are we going to achieve with this course? So the basic thing why we are doing this course or why we are taking this course is to help us become a better and a good tech person. Yeah, irrespective of your field before, it doesn't matter. By the end of this course, you'll be able to tell yourself comfortably and confidently that yes, I'm a good tech person now. Within the course of this course, we're going to go versatile in almost all parts. Even though I know, yeah, some of the parts might not be needed in the Security Plus exam, I will try to just throw more light on them just to help you be well-rounded. And when you attend the interview after now, you'll be comfortable with the answers and the response which you give to take related questions. Of course, interview is not just made up of technical questions. There are some behavioral questions and others, but the tech-related question, you'll be very sure and confident of the answers you're given. Yeah, so and the second one, which is as well the most important as well, is to help you prepare for the Security Plus exam. We all know, yeah, sometimes you need certification to prove that you have this knowledge or this set of skills. Yeah, so by the end of this course, you all will be ready for Security Plus exam, and I can assure you, you're going to take that in just one stand and pass it. I'm very certain of that, without any doubt. Yeah, so that's being established. We'll move directly to the domains which we're going to cover in this course. We have 5 domains to cover actually, and we have that on the screen. The first one being the attack, threat, and vulnerability. This actually covers 24 percent of the whole course, and your exam, which you're going to take, definitely this Security Plus, it covers 24% of it. Here we'll be introducing you to attack, to threat, and vulnerability. We're going to start with that actually today, even though we won't do much on that. I will introduce you to that. I will spend more time introducing you to the concepts, basically for those not trying to join IT field. Those terminologies might be new, so I will spend little time introducing that and explaining more on that. So that will help you a lot since it has 24% of the course. It's quite big. I think it's second to um, the largest in what we have in all the domain. Yeah, so I'll want to just slow down on that. So you grab that, and understanding those concepts is what you definitely going to implement in almost all part of the course. So we'll spend little time on that. And so after that, we'll move to the architecture and design. Just as the name implies, architecture means construction, building, yeah, design. So we're going to talk about both the design of on-prem and cloud services. When I mean on-prem, when I say on-prem, it's not complex. It just means your infrastructure on your site, in your company, in your physical infrastructure. And when I say cloud, I'm just referring to the virtual, the cloud. Those ones you're not seeing, they are not physical to you. Yeah, I will use those terminology often, on-prem and cloud. So you just get that. So we're going to talk about that as well, the design of it. That will be on domain 2. And on domain 3, we are going to talk about the implementation. We'll definitely set up either Azure or AWS, whichever you're comfortable with. Maybe within the course of this program, I might just twist between them, or I might rely on just Azure just to show you. They are all the same concepts. Yeah, just to show you some example of the implementation of that and others. After that, we're going to talk about the fourth domain, which is the operation and incident response. Yeah, how you deal with incidents, immediately they respond. We might go further to talk more on um, some part of continuous incident response and others. What I mean by that, we might discuss a little bit of disaster recovery. We might as well discuss a little bit about crime and some other things. Yeah, but I will just little bit try to restrict myself to what you need basically for the Security Plus. But yeah, within the course of that, I will chip in little things that will be helpful to you to help you be a well-rounded tech person. Then we'll talk about as well the most important as well for me. I like this part very well, what we refer to as the GRC, the governance, the risks and compliance, though it's not having much percentage in this particular sector and Security Plus, but it's very, 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 very important. When I mean important, in the cybersecurity field on its own. Of course, Security Plus is like a pathway into cybersecurity. It is like the fundamental into cybersecurity. Yeah, I understand some of you don't have basic knowledge of IT before, but then it's quite different. IT, of course, is quite different from cybersecurity. When you start talking about cybersecurity, you want to start from this, then progressively move. Yeah, so I know some of you don't have the knowledge of course, some IT parts. So I will be slow on some part and try to explain that. And if possible, bring those IT background to you so you understand that clearly, then you can then move progressively from there. Yeah, so by the end of these 5 domains, 5 sections, you'll be well-rounded and fit for this exam. Yeah, without wasting time, I will just progress directly. Let's see what I can cover today. Yeah. So we'll be starting with risk management, which comprises the first domain, which I mentioned there, the attack, the threat, and the vulnerability. Not to worry, after this class, I would share this material with Flow Out. So she will make that available for you guys, and she will make that available for you. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So she will make that available for you guys, and so you can, is this showing this way? So you can have access to that and go through it as well. A minute, moving technical. Yeah, so risk management. Um, So I will go straight directly, as I said, to the attack, threat, and vulnerability. And I will come back after that to explain more about risk management. But risk management basically is all about remediation, just to give you a tip of that. Yeah, so episode 1, defining risks. So the objective of this episode is actually to explain the difference between threat actor, vector, and intelligence source. Yeah, but before that, defining those things, I will just quickly walk with the slide, which I have here, explain a little bit about risks to give you an insight of that. So risks, basically from the word, we are conversant with the word risks. I'm pretty sure even those not in IT, you must have heard the word rigs before. It still means the same thing. Yeah, even though we are going to add some parts, use some IT terminologies to explain that, or just say some little thing. But rigs is still rigs. Rigs is something about being um, something that had the probability of happening negatively or positively, right? So that is just what about risk. But in IT terms, we will normally define it as the likelihood of threat actor taking advantage of vulnerability by using a threat against an IT asset. So that being defined, it's the IT standard definition for that. So I want to say more about likelihood. Likelihood is the, as I said earlier, is the probability of something happening. If I say likelihood, then I'm saying probability of this happening. Is it high? Is it low? I want to do research on that. I want to know if the probability of this will be high so I can know the measure which I'm going to take to actually keep track of that. And if it's low, do I want to place it under my tolerance level? What I mean by tolerance level, okay, it's not a problem since it's low and it's below this level. I'm okay with that. So, and threat actor, we're going to explain more on that. But actually, threat actor are those guys. There are different type of them. We'll see them as well as we progress. There are those guys that actually um, utilizing their skills. Of course, some of them, there are different types. Some of them are very skilled, the hackers and others. Some of them, the skiddles and others, they are not so skilled, but they are just being clever, use some YouTube video and be able to utilize and take this. Then vulnerability, it's basically about weakness. It's all about weakness. Do we have any weakness existing in your IT infrastructure? Yeah, there will always be weakness. There is no perfect system, as the saying goes. There is always weakness, and that is why there is room for modification, improvement of a system. After developing a system, just like the guy that said is into web developer, after developing a system, you always hear them saying, "Oh, I'm rolling out patch." Whenever you hear that I'm running out patch or update, it's just a modification of what has been done and to make the system more secure. So that is just what they are talking about. An IT asset, as the name implies, is something valuable to you. In this case, our infrastructure, our information system, what we want to secure, what we want to keep away from these bad guys. At this point, I will want to make an important point. Within the course of this program, I'm going to expose you guys and show you guys so many things, so many technology, and so many things that can be used positively and negatively, but you know you are restricted not to use that negatively, right? And if you would do any active attack or active resonance, you need to get a documented permission for that. Meaning you cannot just go online or go anywhere and start utilizing whatever you learn from this course. It's against the rule. So if I would do any penetration testing or anything, any knowledge from this course, if I will implement that anywhere, then I need a written permission to do that, right? Yeah, and even with the passive recognize passive attack, I would even have some limits to that. I won't want to go into anything that would land me into trouble, right? Yeah, because some of these companies, some of these sites, they have means of surveying, keeping in touch. Is anyone trying to attack us and keeping track for that? Yeah. Well, just to take note of that, please. Thank you. Okay, so I believe we have a little bit understanding of what risks is all about now from this summary, which I kind of narrated here, being the likelihood of threat actor, those bad guys taking advantage of vulnerability, the weakness that is in an IT system. They want to actually utilize those weaknesses to access it, to gain access to what ideally they are not supposed to have or what they are not supposed to access. Yeah. Please, guys, if I am too fast, you can just indicate a signal. So let me know so I can slow down. Yeah. I don't want to be too fast. I really need you all to get this concept, most especially this basic terminology, because we are going to implement them. So whenever during the course of the program and I'm calling, oh, the rigs here, or I'm saying the threat actor, you kind of have a picture of what I'm saying and a good understanding of that. Yeah, as mentioned, the threat actor, these are actually the bad guys, right? So we have list of them that is covered. This is not the complete list. They have more than this actually, but within the coverage of this security plus, these are the terminology of risk actor, of threat actor you're going to see. Hacker. Who is an hacker? An hacker is anyone, yeah, anyone that actually have skill sets to write code and bridge any system one and information technology asset. So basically, an hacker is someone that uses code to do his bridging or his attack. And activist actually is as well an hacker that is doing this based on maybe his personal dedication to religion or belief or something like that. Yeah, he's an hacker using codes to actually work on that. Then a script kiddie is not an hacker basically. What do I mean by he's not an hacker? He doesn't have the ability to write code himself. They just basically go online, see code written by some hackers and others, they pick them, they have the ability to understand this code, and they try to implement them with some YouTube video. Of course, we have some YouTube video you'll see that will give you a little insight on this. They don't basically write the code themselves. They search for this code online and try to utilize them. Insider, an insider can be anyone or anything that is within the company. For example, if I am a representative or a staff of Coca-Cola and I'm taking my sample products. What do I mean by sample products? For years, we all know Coca-Cola have been a brand everyone is trying to mimic. We have competition between Pepsi, cola, and different other kinds of cola, but they have not been able to acquire or get the test of Coca-Cola, right? So if I'm working in Coca-Cola, for example, as a representative there, and I'm taking the sample, I'm taking their product this thing to give another brand, actually, an outsider or a competitor, basically, yeah. Yeah, I think we have competitor there. Yeah, competitor and outsider. Then at that point, I'm now a threat. I'm now a threat, right? But then I'm an insider threat, right? That is just the definition of insider there. And that drives us to the next thing we have there, the competitor, which is referred to the outsider actually. Your competitor, for example, Pepsi is actually on the look of for Coca-Cola. How can we get what these people are doing? How can we be better than them? Yeah, those are the outsiders threats. They are their competitor. So, and this applies in almost all industry. Though I'm just using Coca-Cola and Pepsi as a scenario here. In the IT industry as well, it applies, right? So the next one we have there is the shadow IT. Yeah, shadow IT is just basically trying to see what these guys are doing. Okay, what are these guys doing at this point? Can we shadow them? Can we do passive recognize on them just to get a knowledge of what? But of course, you will not, shadow IT is not much critical that you will not be able to get um, the whole distant information, but then you just to shadow get an insight of what they are doing. Yeah, the syndicate. Criminal syndicates can be little bit critical, but then it's not common, I would say. It's not common, but it's kind of leads to the next one which we have there, the state actor. Criminal syndicate is just about coming together, putting resources together to attack. If I'm working with three different computer or three different systems just to attack a particular brand, that is basically what we refer to as criminal syndicates in this program. So the state actor, you must have heard about Russia trying to access mm, Chinese infrastructure and others. These people are basically sponsored. They are backed up by the state, by the country itself. And so that is what we refer to as the state actor. The advanced persistent threat. Continuously, basically, they are as well implemented by state actor. They are continuously trying to assess a particular infrastructure continuously with advanced resources. Yeah, so these are the basic threat actor we're going to see in this whole course. Just as I said, they are not the full details of threat actor we have, but we're going to come across this as we progress. Okay, this is a quick review of what we have discussed so far. I've been able to explain what risks is. Yeah, the likelihood of threat actor taking advantage of the weakness in an IT infrastructure. Yeah, I've told you what an asset is, which is yeah the critical parts, the infrastructure. What is important to you? Anything important to you is an asset, right? Anything valuable to you, you don't want the bad guys to have access to is an access. And likelihood, of course, as I said, is probability of something occurring. Threat actor, yeah, we just went through some of those threat actors that we'll be saying here. The vulnerability, the weakness in an IT. Yeah, so let's progress. Yeah, so on episode 1.1.02, we'll be talking about threats and vulnerability. So still, the objective of this is to make you understand the difference between threat actor, the vector, and intelligent source. If you can see, these guys are taking their time to actually say more about vulnerability because it's important in this course and you're going to hear that over and over again. So vulnerability, as said earlier, is just the weakness, right? The inherent weakness in an asset or in an infrastructure. And threat as well is an attack or exploit that a malicious actor will use against an asset. I want you to note at this point the difference. We've considered threat actor, which are those guys that actually implement the damage, right? But the threat itself, this is an attack or an exploit, which those guys, the malicious actors, will use against an asset. Please note the difference, the little difference. It will be very, very handy and helpful. Yeah. Yeah, so threat actors, we have already explained this. I've been able to give you example of script skid or what they do and others, being able to interpret code, to pick code and implement them. Okay. Another important concept here is what we refer to as the attack vectors. Attack vector is basically pathway, right? Pathway. So these guys, this threat actor, if I want to analyze a particular system, I need to find pathway to accessing that system. What do I mean by that? I need to look for loopholes. I need to look for the vulnerability on that system. So any loophole I can lay my hand on becomes a pathway. An example of pathway is what we have here, weak configuration. If you don't do your configuration, okay, just I was thinking I have a message. So if you don't configure your system very well, it becomes prone to attack. And so that is what we refer to as weak configuration there. And um, Flowers is asking if I can record from my hand. Let me see if I can do that. Mm, just a moment. Okay, so I think I got that. Okay. Um, yeah, so I was actually explaining the attack vector, and I've been able to give you a rough idea of what it means. Saying is pathway, any pathway that gives you access to the infrastructure, any pathway, any weakness that gives you any pathway that gives you access to the weakness of a system, it's the attack vector, right? And I've said something about the weak configuration, open firewall port. What does that mean? Basically, I think at some point in this program, we're going to look how to configure firewalls. And one thing I'm going to emphasize when we get to that point is don't allow any port you're not using at that particular time. Don't allow it to be open. For example, we are actually running different service on our server, and we have a firewall. Firewall basically, to start with, okay, let me explain what firewall means. Firewall is just and hardware, it can be hardware or software. Yeah, so it can come in different method. It's just a device that help you regulate the traffic that hits your network. With firewall, you will be able to manage the outgoing and incoming traffic to a network. You'll be able to define, oh, for this network, I just want traffic to come in. I don't want traffic to go out. You do such setting in a critical infrastructure where you don't want for any reason for anybody to get any information from that. So you want to set that on your firewall that, hey, yeah, traffic can come into this network, but traffic cannot go out. And so at that point, you want to make sure that all the first setting you want to do in a firewall is to close all ports and make sure you only give access to ports that you will be using. And if possible, you can go extra step forward by defining the IP address that will be able to access that port. It gives you much stronger security. But if you're not knowledgeable enough, or if you don't know, you might just leave some port open. And trust me, these bad guys, they know some of these ports that by default might be open from the producer. And so they want to give access to that. There are several things these bad guys are thinking. And of course, some of them are well knowledgeable. So they utilizes this. So you want to take caution of that. Lack of user security awareness. Yeah, just as the name implies, you need to train your users, set up some of these training section to kind of empower them on what is needed and what is they need to do to take measure. And this as well is very important. Lack of MFA, multi-factor authenticator, right? If your device is not having MFA setup, it's kind of prone to that. Very, very prone to that. For example, good example is our WhatsApp, right? Some people, of course, they do their business in WhatsApp. And if you're doing your business on WhatsApp, for example, and you're not having multi-factor authenticator setup, then trust me, you can wake up one morning and you observe that you don't have access to your WhatsApp again. Someone else now is in control of your WhatsApp, which might affect your business as well. Of course, if if it's not valuable, they will not come for it. But of course, trust me, they must have they know that you're doing your business and you're doing something very critical on your WhatsApp. They want to come for it and get that, right? So you need to set up these things to help you stay secured a little bit, even if you cannot be 100% secured, but at least to push away. There's what they call it, deteriorate, to push away some of all these little ones that would come, right? Yeah. So why I said you might not be 100% secured is because there will always be breach, and that is what will take us to the point of incident response. It's covered as well. Incident response, disaster recovering. We have business continuity. Like if this incident occur, actually, what are we going to manage them? That is what we're talking about. Disaster recovery. How are we going to make sure that our critical system are still running, right? Even in situation of breach and others. Yeah, so we have a missing patch. A good example listed here is Equiforce attack. This was actually an attack that occurred in 2017. I'm sure many of us, let me not say many of us, I'm sure the IT guy must be aware of that. It's an attack, one of the biggest attack in the world. Yeah, that occurred in 2017. Yeah, so the next one we have there is infected USB dump drive. Yeah, so you want to, at some point, don't allow USB to be connected to your system at all because it can be pathway actually for people to gain vulnerability, to gain access to your system. Because you don't know what was configured in the USB, just bring USB and plug on your system, and they are having direct pathway to your system. So you want to prevent that actually. Yeah. Yeah, so the attack vector continues as well, the supply chain attack. Yeah, so supply chain, when they say supply chain attack within the course of this, it's just about attack that you're not the one actually creating. Maybe you're getting that from a manufacturer, a contractor, or others, as the case may be, and you're just implementing it. Yeah, so that is just what it's about the supply chain attack. A quick review of what I've discussed so far. I've been able to explain vulnerability. I'm saying is the weakness in the IT device or the IT asset, and I've been able to explain exploit. That is the threat, take against or advantage of the vulnerability. Then the threat actor, here we've illustrated that, as well as the attack vector, which is the pathway. Okay. Okay, so another interesting part of it is the threat intelligence. We're going to spend little time here. So I wanted to just understand this a little bit. It's kind of within the course of this, I will summarize some important fundamentals for you. Yeah, so still going to explain the different type of threat actor and others. Yeah, threat intelligence. So what is threat intelligence sources actually? So we've been able to explain to ourselves what threat is, right? And we have as well defined what threat actor is. So threat intelligence sources, what does it mean? It means, of course, over the years, we have different breach and different attack. And within this period, they have actually been able to document it. As we go further, of course, I will explain where we have the open source and the closed source. We're going to see all that within a couple of minutes. So within this period, we have some platform where you go to see existing threats. Of course, there are some threats that are not in existence. There's these bad guys, just as we are working to harden our system. When I say harden our system, I mean we are working hard to protect our system more, to make it more strong for the bad guys to actually attack. The bad guys are as well working hard to create new attack, new new malicious software that are not yet implemented. But however, for the ones that are already existing, there are some sources where you can go and see them. That is what we refer to as intelligent threat intelligence sources. And why is this actually important? Of course, that is what we have here to facilitate risk management. If you know already of this, it helps you to keep track. Okay, this threat already exists. How can I mitigate it? When I mean mitigate, how can I reduce it? Right? How can I stay away from it to keep my infrastructure or my assets very secured so I don't expose myself to this threat actually. It helps us to harden can reduce incident response time. Very good. If you're able to harden your system, what does that mean? It means it's going to reduce the chances of it being breached, right? And so if your system is hardened, it's going to help you reduce the chance of you responding to incidents. So that is what they're trying to explain there. It reduces incident response time. So you want to at every point try to harden your system very well. It provides cyber security insights. Yeah, it gives you insight on managing and making your system secured more better. Yeah, so they went for that to provide example on that. Okay, so importantly, we have different type of this intelligence source. We have that is closed, and we have open source, and we have about two others. We'll consider them. So when we say closed source simply means it's not open to everyone. Meaning, if you want access to it, you're going to pay certain amount of money as subscription to have access to it. That is what it means by closed source. Because, of course, as I mentioned, threat intelligence sources are very important for you to know the threats that are existing and know how to build your system to harden your system against them. So it's something you want to actually, most companies you're working with, they have already payment for this closed source. So you just need to utilize them and make your system more strong. And as well, we have the open source. Yeah. And open source means it's just there. You don't need to make payment actually, you just access it. We're going to consider maybe one or two of them within the course of this class, actually, just to look through them so you see them. And I'll just show you an example of how you can just utilize that. I won't go detailed so much on that, and I will re-emphasize why showing you that you don't have the right to just pick up a site and start doing those things. You need a written document, not a verbal document, a written document before you can go on and do any active or in most cases passive attack. Yeah. So some example of the open source is what we have as the government reports, the media, and the academic paper. Yeah. So yeah, for this, I want to just show you an example of this. Let's quickly take one example of that. Okay, so this is actually Google hacking database. It's an open source. Why? Because I don't actually need to pay. I don't need to make any payments to actually access this. I just need to type this URL, Google hacking database, and I actually land here, right? So Google Access Database, what is it about? It's just about index by Google crawler. So what does it mean? As you're using, for me now, I'm working on my system. I've been probably going from one tab to the other, right? Opening, doing things. So if someone should have access to this my system, an hacker, for example, a bad guy, right? The person wants to access something like this. He just opening this. The person wants to get a list, kind of an index of what my Google has crawled. Actually, he wants to actually access. So basically, all these things here, most especially the in title, are what I've actually accessed, and maybe at some point it needed me to provide login. So they want to have an illustration or an idea of what I have accessed that I logged in. For example, I accessed, of course, network extender and I logged in there. So seeing this, a bad guy already know, okay, I want to access this. He just copies this on the system, copy this, open a new tab. And with this already, he's already seen this, open this, and this will kind of give him an idea of, okay, he actually accessed this particular thing, a network extender, and he provided a username and a password. And with this, is going to have an idea of now starting what we refer to as brute force or other related thing, just to have access to this, which he or she is not supposed to, right? I won't go further on this, but this is just an insight of, okay, how by the time they have access to your system, what are the things they want to check, and try to brute force and continue to have access. So this is actually one example of um, an open source. This is an example of an open source threat intelligence system. Another is the Another one is the vulnerability database. I have that here as well. So you remember during the course of our conversation, I made mention of we saw something like Equifax, and I made mention of that occurring is one of the biggest cyber breach that have occurred in the world, and it occurred in 2017. And this is actually the file for that. CV this. Okay. So you want to take note of this, kind of go through it and see what actually causes it and others. It was actually caused, it's related to Apache. That is why we have this as Apache actually. So we'll say more on this actually, but just to give you an insight of the open source and other things we've seen so far. Yeah. Yeah. So other we have as well, other sources, the file code repository basically is and a good example of that is the GitHub, and we have the vulnerability database. I just showed us that now, where I just showed us the vulnerability database. That is the CVE. That is what we have here, the CVE, common vulnerability and exposure. And I showed you how to track that. This is for the, because I know, of course, actually I've done a little bit research about this, most especially when it occurred, the Equifax. As I said, it's among the biggest cyber breach that have occurred. So I know this is the code. This is the CVE actually code 5638. So if you want to go through in that, you basically go through that and you see what happened, and you want to make your system hardened against that. So something similar to that does not occur to your system, right? Because it would be so dumb of you as the IT person here, or the IT or the cyber security guy in a system, and a breach that is already known is occurring to your system again. They will be like, is it that you're not looking up to threat intelligence source? It should be your responsibility to go through this either this or go through this, as the case may be, and protect your system actually. And protect your system. Yeah, you want to go through this and make your system very secured, right? So threats that are known already, these are all threats actually. These are all vulnerability. This vulnerability database, you want to go through this, check through them, so to harden your system more and more, right? And I understand this might be much, depending on your sector, actually, what you're doing. Just, okay, I should have mentioned that there. Maybe. Search. Yeah, so I'm just trying to show you just the initiation of this. Actually, if you want to search for any particular bridge, you want to search for any particular threads to know more about it, you just come here, paste on that, click on that, then type on the search. Of course, you've seen I've searched about Apache. So Apache, which is related to the Equiforce. So it's just going to give you a pop of this, then you go through it and try to harden your system based on that, depending on your interest, right? Yeah, and depending on your system, your infrastructure, basically. Okay. So yeah, we discussed about the vulnerability database. Yeah, so another threat intelligence source, which is very, very um, important for me to mention, is the dark web. Some people refer to it as darknet. So why do they call it dark web? It's basically called dark web because the content on it is not indexed on search engine like Google. That is why it's called dark web. So what does that mean? That it's not indexed on search engine like Google, meaning we have some things that are many things that are actually not right here, or not in line. So if you're using dark web, you want to be extra careful, right? And though it has its advantage and of course its disadvantage. So before that, dark web basically makes use of the Tor network. We can see that here, Tor network or the Tor web browser. What does this help you achieve? Tor network helps you it helps you make yourself anonymous, right? What do I mean by that? You want to access something, or you want to reach out to something, but you don't want to make yourself known. And basically, it's used by, you see example there, the journalist, law enforcement agent, and government informant. As a journalist, there's some critical information you might have, and you don't want to share that and allow people to know who you are because they might come for you. So you want to do that through Tor network, right? Or Tor browser. So basically, if I'm browsing with Tor network or Tor browser, right? I'm just, for example, I might be in UK and I'm accessing a particular site and it's coming as if it's coming from Australia instead of UK, right? So let me quickly illustrate this diagram. Just this is a pictorial. This will see this, and I'll as well show you the real picture of it, in real life. So this is a pictorial illustration of it, of Tor browser or Tor network, which the dark web use. So immediately you initiate that, what you want to access, it goes down to your Tor network entry point. I'm actually in Canada in this illustration here. I'm actually having my Tor browser on my system here in Canada. Immediately I initiate that, it comes to the Tor network entry point here in Canada. And from my Tor network entry point in Canada, it goes to my Tor relay server throughout the world. Meaning it can be any of the server in the world. And from this Tor relay server, it goes down to my Tor network exit point in Australian. I believe we've seen that. So it goes to my Tor network exit point in Australia. From my Tor network exit point in Australia, it then goes to the original Tor browser IP address unknown in Australia. So I actually initiated this Tor browser to access a particular site in Canada. But then the server or the information I'm trying to get will be seeing it as, oh, this person is actually in Australia. But in actual sense, am I in Australia or Austria? No, I'm actually in Canada. So it kind of helps you encrypt and as well makes you anonymous, right? Okay, so let's quickly see a sample of that, a real sample of that. So I have the Tor network installed already, right? Yeah, if you need it, you can install it. It's free, just like your normal browser. But of course, you know the purpose of installing it and know what you're doing with it actually. Yeah, so for example, I'm kind of assessing. I'm assessing this site, this URL. Okay, so we're going to check our pathway by clicking on this data cycle. And from this, we can see this is our Tor cycle. This is my browser. And the first point, which correlates to this image, coming to this, right, to my Tor network entry point, it's picking that I'm actually assessing this from, you see my 3 points. The first point is it went to Germany with this IP address. The second point, Germany with this IP address. The third point, Belgium with this IP address before getting to this site, which I accessed. So basically, this actually passed through these three locations and is accessing this site from Belgium. But am I in Belgium? No. But if I'm doing anything now, right, on this place now, it's seeing me like, hey, this traffic is coming from Belgium with this IP. But ideally, this is not me here. So that is the advantage of this actually, making you anonymous and encrypting your connection, right? So Tor encryption and anonymity, it's used by these guys basically, probably that are trying to be safe and keep themselves secured within the range, not to get themselves exposed to certain things. Yeah, so I just remembered something here, which is important I mentioned, though we are not going to do that setup today, but I'm just going to show you. But of course, subsequently, we're going to work on that. What do I mean by work on that? Of course, I'm going to take you through the process of a live section. We're going to build either the AWS or the Azure, yeah, preferably Azure. Then I'm going to show you how to set that up. And so when we get to the point of network and others, we can all practically do that and see how to configure, do the implementation or do the design and the architecture as the case may be. But for now, I was just going to show you just run. Okay, so I have my Axon account actually here already set up. This is a fresh account. I've not done much configuration here. We're going to go that progressively together and build our network, build our virtual machines. We're going to do the configuration as we progresses with the course actually. So I just don't want to set that up and just show you that, but I want to set that up with you. So it will be much understanding, and if possible, yeah, for you guys to as well have that progressively as we move. So I wanted to show you something here pertaining to what we've discussed already. We've discussed threat and others. So actually, some of these platform, these cloud platform, right? I mentioned that within the course of this period, I will use some terminologies on on-premise and cloud. So this cloud platform, and for this cloud platform, they actually have some means of securing your system. Actually, just wanted to point out to you. So you basically don't need to crack your head much if you're on the cloud. You just need to go, if we've set up our virtual machine and other things, you just need to go on the home, and you want to look for your security center or your Microsoft Defender for cloud. Then you click on recommendation. This should, I'm not sure it should pop up anything much because we have not done, this is a fresh cloud environment. I've not done anything much. But if I should put up some of the other, it's going to load and it will not show much on it because I've not done any setup. Or if I should put up some other, or after progressively, if we've set up some other, some infrastructure and network, then we proceed to do this. Click on the security center or the Microsoft Defender and click on recommendation. It loads, takes some time, and it's going to give us pictorial pictorial representation of recommendation for us to help stiffen our system, our platform, our assets that are valuable to us. Of course, if you set up a virtual machine and you're using that to do your business, it becomes a critical asset to you, right? It becomes important to you because you don't want that to go down. You want to find ways of hardening it to make it secure against the bad guys, right? Yeah. That is loading, but I'm not sure it's going to display anything there. So I might come back to that later. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about the dark web, darknet, why is called that, and I've been able to explain the Tor network as well. And we also saw the illustration of the Tor network, how it works actually, assessing a particular site and giving us that we are actually from Belgium, why we are not from Belgium at this moment, right? Yeah, so okay. Okay, so other threat intelligence sharing we have here is the automated indicator sharing. So why automated indicator sharing? So basically, of course, IT is advancing and others. So there was need to actually automate this process because you cannot be manually assessing this within platform and others. It becomes so complex and cumbersome, and you might not, at some point, you might even miss some of them. You might not be able to actually visualize all. So there was the need to automate that, and the automated process for that is what is referred to as automated indicator sharing. So basically, is as well, it just gives you insight of the threat intelligence, but then it's automated, so you rarely do much. You just get this on your platform. I've been able to show you a sample of the Microsoft Azure. Let me see if that is loaded completely. It's still loading. But this should not, like I say, this recommendation should not have much because I don't have infrastructure running on this particular Azure account. This is Microsoft Azure, and as I said, it's a cloud platform. Yeah. So, and so the automated indicator sharing actually makes use of a particular format or structure, which is known as the structured threat information expression. And yeah, it makes use of that to actualize that, to get it automated, the intelligence sharing automated. And it's actually, yeah, you see, yeah, I think it's mentioned here. It's actually being passed through in the network through your trusted automated exchange of intelligence information. So yeah, call as tags, I. Yeah, so it's actualized with that. Okay, so a quick review. A quick review will be, yeah, the open source intelligence. Yeah, we've discussed that, where we refer to as public cybersecurity intelligence. Yeah, the common vulnerability and exposure database. Yeah, that is what I actually showed us here. Um, this, how to search for this, I gave an example of this search using Apache, which is what was related, the one of the bridges related to one of the biggest epiflogs, the biggest cyber bridge in the world. Yeah, so we've looked on that. And yeah, we as well looked on dark web. Yeah, I was able to show us dark web using this. Yeah, and the structure of this. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, we are going to be moving a little bit, we'll digress a little bit into risk management concept. But before then, I want to stop at this point and ask you guys to throw your questions so we'll address them. I know I've said so much already, and I really don't want to. I don't want to heap us so much with so much information. This is the first class. Um, I want you to start getting a little bit bored in the first class, and don't think it's just going to be more of talking. No, in our subsequent class, we'll be doing more of setting up infrastructure and doing more of practical work. And if possible, I wish, but I don't know if it will be possible for us to go progressively. What I mean by progressively, I'm showing you, and you are trying to um, replicate it on your different device if you have chance. I said if possible because I know some of you might not have direct access to do that then. But if possible, it would be good while I'm showing you, you're doing that immediately. It's kind of help you to learn faster and much easier than trying to do that after which. But however, the video will be recorded. But then if you have problem while we are doing it in the class, you can easily ask and we'll all assist you on that. Yeah, but for now, let me pause this sharing, this recording, and listen to your questions. And yeah, I would then know how we'll go on from there.